What's up, everyone? And this is Next Level Thinking.
What's up, everyone? We have another fantastic episode giving you great value, energy, and much more. It's, of course, your host, Chris Holmes on Next Level Thinking, and I have a special guest by the name of
Keturah Rosado.
Awesome. Look at that $1 million smile. Look at the smile. It's doing all kind of energy. So go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself as we just drop kind of bombs of value information and much more.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, Chris, thank you so much for having me here on this show. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for this opportunity to speak to your audience. For me, life has always come at me much faster than I've ever wanted it to. And I would always say that my greatest potential, I always discovered it when my back was against the wall. I got through life that way, and I got to a point where I got tired of always feeling like my back was against the wall, and I needed some shifts to happen. And that's really where a lot of my personal reflections, which ended up really mushrooming into a whole lot more than just personal, that's when it started to move, and I discovered many aspects to worth, identity, confidence, and purpose that have really shifted the trajectory for me.
Exactly. And it's interesting that you brought that up. It's like sometimes your best comes out of you when your back is against the wall. It's like the firefly, like you better figure this out or else. But it's a lot of, goes to like the same kind of message of you have to get outside of your comfort zone, because so many of us like to be so comfortable. Like, I'm used to doing a routine. I know what to expect. But as soon as you make something uncomfortable, you're like, wait a minute, why are we going this way?
Yep.
Cool. So let's go about in a little bit more in depth, knowing more about you. So where's this person from? I got you on the show. So let's go to the roots. Like, where you from? Like, how did you come up?
We could go there. My roots are really underneath a mango tree. I grew up on a very small island in the Caribbean, St. Lucia, and yeah, Caribbean girl, But yeah, my first 16 years were very very simple, and there were some aspects to it that had some complications too. But on the heels of a breakup between my mom and dad, which was really the end of a lot of tumultuous encounters for her, on the heels of that, I found myself having to leave my home and come to this country, to America. And again, it was one of those back against the wall situations. But I got married very young. I was 19 when I got married. I learned a whole nother language for love because not for the sake of my husband. Yeah, it was not for the sake of my ex-husband, but it was his grandmother. She didn't speak English, so I learned how to speak fluent Spanish to communicate with her because I loved her very much. But a lot of the decisions I made in my 20s were based on survival, if you will. And so as I grew and as I developed and transitioned, what my needs started changing and our values as I started growing, those things were not in alignment anymore. And I found myself.
I'm glad you brought that, because I want to dive in real quick. So, because a lot of people like to kind of hold on to close by people when they're trying to like going through their transition or leveling up. Yeah. And I continue with your story, but I want to go a little bit more in depth first. Of like, sometimes you have to learn how to let go, because that's so hard for so many people.
I know. I gave you like 10 different things in like 2 minutes, right? But yeah, well, since you want me to go into detail with that, I'll put it this way: when I was young, what I saw modeled at home was based on a lot of domestic violence, and so when I got married, I was just looking for somebody who would take care of me, not beat on me, and not cheat on me. That's it.
So
Uh,
like the security kind of thing,
yeah,
because you know I hear that a lot,
yeah.
and it's coming more, and like especially as guys, like is it, y'all the women when it comes down to like protection stability when it comes down to like looking for the partner when it comes down to that.
Yeah. And I wasn't a gold digger. I was a productive person. I knew I had a lot to contribute, but a lot of a lot of the decisions were based on poor identity formation, you know? I didn't have a strong enough identity. I didn't have a grounded identity, if you will. I run a company called Momentum Woman, and our motto is a woman who's grounded and secure in her uncompromised identity can turn any crisis into a celebration. But these things I didn't discover until, later on in life, and really doing the work on myself and digging deep. But yeah, basically going back to the growth aspect of things as I started growing, discovering, and just really blossoming, the the differences created more conflict, and so the marriage ended. Thankfully, we had 4 children together, and we were able to maintain a healthy parental relationship, even if our
I don't know,
marriage.
that was a challenge among itself.
Yeah, yeah, and it didn't just happen. It takes work, it takes commitment, it takes really setting your priorities in order so that you really focus and maintain what's important to the welfare and well-being of your children. And I think because both of us came from broken homes, where our parents were not necessarily the primary source of um, identity when it came to how a marriage should work and how a family should work, then we
Mhm.
wanted to give our children something different. So that really, I think, was the impetus for both of us being able to say, you know what, let's put our differences aside and make it work.
I want to go a little bit more on to that little the point that you made of like coming from a broken home. So go a little bit more in depth. And the reason why I'm saying that because a lot of us have come like we may not have like the perfect life. I mean, nobody has a perfect lifestyle, but
Mhm.
we have our things that we overcome through adversity. But what I'm seeing more and more from my own experience and watching others, because we learn from each other, is a lot of that baggage or pain we keep carrying it or we may project it to the next person or project it to our next, career and not even be aware of it. So I want you to go a little bit more depth into that so you can put a tremendous amount because that's like a hush hush subject that a lot of people don't want to talk about.
Mhm. And I'll say this, Chris, it's a choice. It truly, truly is a choice. I have a brother who, my oldest brother actually walked me down the aisle when I got married the second time. The first time I eloped, it was just me and him, and my mom was there, and we were like, "Yeah, we doing this, right?" The second time around, I had a wedding, I invited people, I had a bridal party, all of that. And my brother, many times I would say to him, you're such a good dad. You're so many amazing things. And he would say to me, well, I just decided that I would be the opposite of what I experienced. And but you find people who make their experiences the reason they can't, right? They make their experiences the excuse. And yeah,
Oh wait a minute. What you mean like they make the sphere? I get you, but go expand even more. Like,
sure, sure.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
like they'll say, the reason I can't do this is because, nobody was ever there for me. I didn't
Oh,
have this, I didn't
you
have
hitting
that.
them. She was like, no, no, look, I'm gonna be real with this one. I read about unapologetic. Come on, keep bringing it.
Right? I didn't have this in life. I didn't have that. The white man's holding me down. Listen, the whole enchilada.
Not the
And
whole.
and
Oh
while
man.
while there are truths in what we've all experienced, what I've learned and discovered is that it's about your identity. It's really about who do I want to be, and what are the beliefs in life that I'm going to have to embody that are consistent with that identity. From those beliefs, what are the stories that I'm telling myself to reinforce those beliefs, right? And then
Mhm.
going down, it's, well, what are the skill sets that I need to have? What are the characteristics I personally need to embody? And finally, what is the environment that I want to be in so that that identity, and so if I told you how I grew up, like I grew up basically on afternoons, I didn't have to smoke weed to be high. I just had to walk home, right?
Oh wow.
I'll put it this way to you. I just had to walk home, you
Like,
know,
ooh, okay.
but
I'm good if you gonna find that real quick.
feel me on that one. I mean, I don't even need to say much more. But then I knew when I got into my home what it is that I didn't want to do or be, right? And what are some of the things that needed to happen. I had to develop, and back then as a child, you don't have the vocabulary, like mindset and
Nope,
personal growth.
we was
Like,
just going, we was just a sponge absorbing.
yeah, and back then all people said was, oh, she thinks she's better than us. But it wasn't about thinking you're better than anybody. It's knowing that there's something more that you're capable of, knowing that you were made. You were made and created and put here on this planet for so much more than just a little bit that sometimes life affords you. Knowing what to do to propel yourself forward, using the faculties that you have, the gifts that you have on the inside of you, and not allowing your environment to hold you back, but being able to see beyond and transcend the circumstances, right? And so these are some of the things that are now coming to full circle for me, and I'm seeing myself even in especially in the professional space when I'm working with clients. I'm seeing that all of these experiences, they've helped to shape a narrative that I can utilize to help my clients understand what they're actually dealing with. Because I realize location, geography, race, all of these things, they don't matter. They're just like a,
Just say that. You gotta say that again. You gotta say it again. You just skin to say it like that.
I
Say
mean,
it.
for real, like where I was born, my age, my race, all of those things, they're just contexts that you could put it into so that you can have a discussion. My husband is a pastor of a church, and my church is predominantly vanilla, and I'm always explaining things from a chocolate perspective, and I tell them, hey, don't let the chocolate trip you up. Like, take yourself and put yourself in this story for the context that you live in, for the context of life that you experience, because it's not so much about just the one thing. It's just my context gives you a richer perspective to look at it through. So, just kind of bringing it into bringing it into your theme of purpose. I realized that the things that I've gone through, they were not necessarily to break me, but to give me context for the work that God put me on this planet to do. You know?
Yep. You wrap it up in a nice bow. When you hit on something that sound like a course among itself, is no matter your race, location, and all that much more, you decide who you want to be. And we forget that so many times because we allow the media, you're this person, your friends, you're this person. Now, of course, we're learning. You gotta go through this journey, making the mistakes, have our achievements, and much more, you mold and all that much more. But the main thing is, at the end of the day, choose who you are. Be yourself. Don't put on this front, because what I see happen a lot is people put this front on for so long, but then that's like the soul is like, what the heck are we doing? And then they get, you know how that goes.
Yep. And that's why, even that's why I've chosen the field of work that I'm in, professionally as a therapist, but I decided to, go into entrepreneurship as a coach, because I know that there are biological factors, there are social factors, like we're not going to ignore that there are issues in the world to face, right? And just naturally as human beings, we deal with things a certain way. And you're kind of like, you cannot solve a problem out of the box with inside the box thinking, right? So you have to kind of come out. Yeah, you have to come out of the box. And so with coaching, I get an opportunity to show, clients how to take what they're dealing with and look at it from a different perspective so that they can get better solutions and get it faster. And so I don't want to negate the fact that people have realities that impact and affect their lives on a daily basis. But I just, it's my hope to always share with people that, listen, you have so much more on the inside of you, and you're so much more capable than you realize. It's just about tapping into it.
Exactly. It's a matter of just tapping into it. And it goes back to what we were saying too. It's like the choice is yours.
Yes.
Are you going to allow somebody to pretty much puppet you and guide you this way? Or are you going to be like, cut this off, I'm walking on my own, I don't need you.
Yeah.
So what was the turning point to like transition you to like what you're doing today? Because we have all the great value. Of course, you being a Caribbean, you're not gonna have to find Jamaica something that you got into that line. I'm just thinking about it now. I need to. I'm by Galveston, I see the beach, but now I got a Caribbean. Everybody know. Yeah. But what was the huge turning point that really said I need to do this?
Yeah, for me, it wasn't one specific thing. It was more like stumbling through life and getting tired, right? Professionally, I've always been someone that I do great on the job. People love me. I'm able to provide great value, great service. But I just found that in my own personal life, there were a lot of emotional baggage that I was dealing with. And while I was able to do a good job, it was like I was putting on for the world. And then when I came home, it was a mess. And I thought to myself, like, that's not, that's not, you're
Like,
spending.
you hit one of those things where people are like, man, I got to put on for this, I got to be real. I got to be real, so I got to rep my,
Yeah. 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 And it was just a lot of that, and then I found myself, and it was one specific, you know what, I could draw it back to one encounter. I was working as a clinical case manager, went to a home of a family, and the mom, they were doing well as a family. They had everything, but the mom and the daughter, their relationship was suffering, and the daughter felt like, I'm parenting my mom.
Wait, the daughter is parenting the mom. That's switched.
Yes, yes. And while I was there doing the work, I thought to myself, you're out here saving people's families, but your children silently suffering and you don't even know it. Are there things that they're not really able to tell you because they don't feel like they can be vulnerable with you without you coming at them? And I started taking inventory of my life because, remember, I had been through a divorce, I'd gotten remarried, and there were a lot of things that were restructuring around my family life that I just felt like I want to make sure that I know that I know that I know. And so I started working on the different areas, because then I just didn't want to see what I saw happening in that home happening to me one day. And it just developed into my own personal development, lots and lots of inner healing that took place. And then from there, it just started basically happening with other people asking me like, hey, and I was sharing my story a lot. And then people just started asking me to come speak at their events. They started asking me to come do workshops. And then I was like, you know what? This is a thing,
Hey.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of good things, big things, and one of them was a lot in your own way of inside healing, which is one thing you must do because before it's like, we use the word like Mike, you got to start with the man in the mirror, yourself. So before you make a huge impact or be able to pull up somebody else, you got to pull yourself up. I don't know why somewhere in most of us, when we grow up, we think like, okay, I may be down, but let me help somebody else. I'm like, wait a minute. So if you're sinking and I'm sinking, ain't nobody about to get out of this. Just get yourself together and then help me out. So that's another huge thing.
I
The
call
other
it
one,
self-humility. We don't know it, but that's what it is, you know?
and let's be honest. I'm trying to say, no, I forget. I'm trying to say how it is.
Just say it how
I
it is.
feel like when we say be humble and the humility thing, of course, be kind and nice to others, but at the same time, we hold ourselves back from
Yeah.
being the light that we should be to actually uplift somebody who needs to see it. Because we're like, you can have like the biggest breakthrough right in your hand. You're like, oh no, I just wanna, keep it right here. I don't want to make so and so feel bad, or so and so feel like I'm doing too much, or I can have this great talent, music, photo, video, whatever you need, you have been given to you, and you're like, oh, no, I don't want to showcase. I don't want to be looked at as person as, oh, you're trying to be cocky. So
Yeah.
the mic is yours.
Yeah, and then, it goes back to what you said earlier about comfort zones, right? And that's a human. It's just such a brain-based behavior. So I love neuroscience, just so you know. But it's one of those brain-based behaviors. But really, when we're saying I'll be humble, I'll this, I'll that, what we're actually saying is I'm not going to venture out into the discomfort of what it would be like to be alone, to be standing alone, because we all want friendships. We want validation. And so
The
to
lights.
shine, yeah, to shine, then there's a possibility that the validation we get from just fitting in, that we're going to lose. And so our brain, again, is just wanting to know, well, what's the one thing that I can do to keep you safe? So if you're thinking about safety as opposed to purpose, then you're not going to fulfill your purpose, because when you're fulfilling your purpose, majority of the time,
It's
you're
uncomfortable.
yes, it's uncomfortable. You're standing alone, and there's a lot of unknowns. It's in stepping out that you build the courage. You don't get courage to step out. You step out, and the courage comes. And then your brain goes, "Oh, okay, that worked." Then you do it again, and then your brain says, "Oh, wait a minute, there's something to this here, right?" And then and then you start releasing endorphins and hormones and other chemicals that come when you're feeling euphoria, and then your brain starts to go, oh, wait. Oh, hold on. Let's try this again. But then until you say, you know what? It might be uncomfortable. And guess what? I'm not even there. And one of the things I wanted to say is a lot of people think that they have fear of failure. But it's not fear of failure. It's the opposite. It's fear of success. Because then
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. You just ran out the whole church house. Yeah, ran out the schools. You messed up somebody's teaching. They just probably made a whole note about that. You just threw that out the window.
That was your whole sermon. That was the sermon. You're going to break apart into an 8-part sermon. Well, 8-part series. It's really fear of success that people have, because then many times people have such a deflated self-image that they are not confident that even if they don't have the answer today, the answer will come tomorrow. So I rather not experience the one success and then be shamed for the rest of my life than to experience it and then I have nothing else to follow it up with. And so if we can start saying, whoa, hold on, you're so much more capable than you think you are, and understanding that the one success is going to perpetuate itself, in that every time you experience one level or layer of success, it's a new you that you're forming.
Transformation.
Right? Yes. So it's a new you. And the next level of success is going to come from that identity, not the identity that you're at right now. And so when we start to think, oh, wait, just take all of that stuff off and understand that it's about going, like the Bible says, from faith to faith and from glory to glory, we got this.
Yes. What can you say after that? Can you tore up the whole building? As the professors are, they're like, wait a minute, you just mess up my whole lecture. I made a whole PowerPoint presentation, and now my students look at me crazy. But when it really comes down, even when it comes to innovation and progressing, we're so used to sticking to old ways, traditional thoughts. We've been taught to how we should walk, and then on top of that, the fear of success. So
Mhm.
you just disguising this whole thing like, no, I'm fear of failure. No, you're afraid of what something bigger may come if you step forward into it. So you just flipped everything upside down.
But the Bible tells us I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? And I love how Marissa Peer says it. I am enough. Like that's the simple way she puts it. I am enough. And when we let that resonate within us, where we know that even in my flaws, even in the incompletion, even in what seems to be imperfect, it's still
Mhm.
enough. It's still enough because it's enough for where you are right now, and it's enough for where you're going. You know.
Exactly. So don't think she just randomly does this. She has a podcast too. So yeah, I'm gonna throw that out there. She had a couple of times. What's that podcast name? Enlighten us real
The
quick. What's it?
Momentum Woman podcast.
She over here representing for all the women out there, being unapologetic too. She gonna make it heard, like it or not. But tell us more about the podcast.
Yeah, for me it's all about your personal power and freedom. It's about unlocking your potential. It's about being able to transcend limitations in business and life and relationships. And so on the podcast we talk a lot about some of the internal things that we deal with, the challenges that can either hold us back, and what to do. What are some of the tactical and strategic steps that we can take to remove those limitations and to step into all that God has for us. I don't take a religious approach when I'm on the podcast, but because I have a Christian worldview, it kind of comes in there. It just weaves
Mhm.
itself into there. But yeah, I try to focus a whole lot on the personal growth part of things and the development, the transformation as well.
Awesome, awesome. So as we close things out, leave us with a closing statement. Drop the mic and also let us know where can we find you.
Awesome. So you can find me on any of the three main social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Twitter as well, and the handle is Keturah Rosado. So if you look for Keturah Rosado on Instagram, Facebook, any of those, you'll find me there. And my email address is hello@keturah.rosado.com. Keturah Rosado, Rosato. Um, but if I have to leave everybody with one thing, I believe it was Paul Little, and he was a scholar who said, "Your influence, like your shadow, will reach places you haven't been." And I've been living by that motto for well over 15 years, knowing that the little that you do so much is so much more when God is in it. So continue to labor because you definitely have a more profound impact on the lives of the people you're meant to serve than you may even realize.
Awesome, awesome. So let those words lay heavy on your heart, but also to encourage you to take it to the next level. It's your host, Chris Holmes, always elevating you with great guests. And I have my special guest by the name of
Keturah Rosato.
she said that what kind of Saturday too. All right. So make sure you share, subscribe much more, and comment. Keep that energy going so we can help elevate because it's all about helping people reach it to the next level. Peace out and have a great day.